Hey guys, it's Alexandra from EyeLoveKnots.com and CreationCrochet.com, and today I want to talk to you about wonky shaped granny squares and how you can fix them. One question that I've seen asked a lot of times is, why does my granny square slant, or why is it crooked? Typically, we are slip stitching our rounds, slip stitching over, and beginning our granny square without turning it. Working in unturned rounds naturally makes the work slant, either to the left or to the right, depending on if you're left-handed or right-handed. So to fix a slant in your granny square, which is more noticeable if you work big granny squares up as opposed to little granny squares, is going to be to slip stitch join and then turn your granny square so that you can work in the opposite direction, and then finish that round and turn your work so you can work in the opposite direction again. Another way to fix this is going to be to fasten off and rejoin your yarn in another corner, and this is most helpful if you're working in color stripes or color blocks. Otherwise, you're just giving yourself a bunch more ends to weave in. Now, the other thing that tends to happen is the granny square takes on one of two shapes depending on tension. In this square right here, you can see that it is caving in the center and flaring out at the corners. So this shape is called butterflying. It's taking a butterfly shape. And to fix this shaping, you should add another chain in between your clusters worked in the center. Not the corners where you're working the 3 chains, you want to keep that just like that, but everywhere else in the center you want to work an additional chain. So normally I work a chain 1 in between my clusters. If my granny square is taking the shape, I'm going to try working a chain 2 in between my clusters. The opposite of this is going to be that your granny square is bowing out in the center. And you can see that here in this square here that the centers are bowing out. And to fix this, you would omit a chain here in between your clusters. Again, not talking about the chain 3s at the corner, but all the rest of the clusters in the center. I normally work a chain 1 in between my clusters, so if my square was taking the shape, then I wouldn't chain at all in between. Now, let's say that you did everything correctly and your square just looks a little less neat than you would like. The answer to how you can make your square neater is going to be blocking. After you finish your square, you weave in your ends, wet your square, place that on a blocking mat, use rust-proof pins to pin in all the spots where you want to give it the defined shape. You use your pins here in the middle just to make sure everything is even, and then you let it dry. Once it's completely dry, you can take those pins out and it'll stay in that shape that you gave it. I don't block my granny squares. I don't block much actually, but I'm usually working granny squares that I'm going to sew together and turn into a different project. And I find that once assembling is done and a border is added on, then I don't have any wonkiness left in my granny squares. But if I was going to work a project where I just want one granny square to stand alone, then blocking is definitely going to give it that much neater finish. Guys, I hope you found this tutorial helpful. You can pop down in the description box below and I'll share with you some granny square projects. Please smash that like button and hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.